Good night, America. How are ya? Don't you know me? I'm your native son. We just had a lovely little storm here in Coronado. I'm down at the whiskey bar, the last whiskey bar, final resting place of Jim Morrison. It's a mythical principality in the mind of the people who loved and lived in those days. 60s were just idyllic. They were just like, every day there was a new song. Every day there was a new philosophy. Every day people were changing and making wonderful artisan just erupted across the nation. Actually, it happened also many times throughout the centuries, but in particular, it happened in the 20s in Paris, where all the artists and music and literature and all of it came. We had another one in the 60s, and by God, it was formidable. Changed all of us. We all started dropping acid and thinking, whereas before we didn't think, we just functioned perfunctorily. And now, all these years later, close to knocking on 80's door, I got my dream come true. It's a little tiny Shangri-La, where I raise a glass or two to those who passed. And I meet new people every day, and I sell them my book, which is I Remember Jim Morrison 2. And the 2 TO is about this. More than 70 books have been written about Morrison, and each one of them never even touched the surface. It's like that song, Babe, you're just a wave, you're not the water. And to me, those books were just waves. And weak waves, by the way, not those little piddly ones that just go lap, lap, lap on the shore. That's what they were, because Morrison never talked about himself, and neither did anyone in their family. So everyone who ever wrote a book about him was guessing. At least they were guessing about the rest of his life. And his rock and roll life was well documented. It was like, he was a crazy, drunk rock and roller who died young. But there was more to it than that. And you'll never know the real story, but you will if you read my book. I Remember Jim Morrison by Alan Graham. It's on Amazon. It's in French, it's in Spanish, and it's in English. Thanks to some beautiful people like Lameroy Publishing and Eric Nyland, and in Paris, by the way, and in Mexico City, Israel, my publisher down there, and here, Ted Claudette in America. We pulled together and made the most beautiful thing happen. And instead of getting robbed by big publishers, we did it independently. And it now is all over the world in 3 major languages, Spanish, English, and French. And so I'm very proud of that, especially a kid from Liverpool who graduated with a degree in stupidity and was told by his headmaster, well, I can't even give you a reference. I don't know what's going to become of you. Well, I did. And I went and did. And I live free. I'm a free man. I'm not a number. That was a series, a British series on English TV with Patrick McGowan called The Prisoner. You gotta watch it. It's wild. Anyway, so here tonight, after a lovely storm, I'm raising this time I'm raising it outside. I'll turn it around and show you. I'll give you a selfie. I'm raising a glass to those who have passed. God bless you all. I'll join you pretty soon. In fact, I got an update on my health. My doctor called today and he said, you really don't have much time left to live, Al. Only maybe 20 or 30 years. So I'm fucking going for it. All right, that's it. That's my little wrap. Now I'm gonna go have a bowl of soup over there at my favorite restaurant, Garage Bonificato, which means the garage good fork. That's the name of the place. They've got t-shirts that say fork off and fork you, and really cool tongue-in-cheek. This is our antique side of the place, with a little curiosity shop, the attic. On the other side, we've got vintage records, which are just delightful to look through. We've got a record player there, and I play them. And sometimes in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m., you'll see me back there. You see the American flag. It looks like a coffin, but it is actually a tribute to the reality that America is the finest country on God's green earth. Now, I say that as someone who left England with the stench of socialism in his nostrils, being told by union bosses, don't work too fast, don't put us out of a job. I came to America, landed on shores, and I got a job for 3 times more than I ever had. And then I went for it. Came to Cali. My father-in-law, Admiral Morrison, was stationed here. We came here, we stayed here. I had bought and sold a dozen houses in my young career. And there you have it. Al Graham for the Cape Pixie Radio, the only nuclear-powered radio station on God's green earth, and the Cape Pixie Radio podcast, which is called The Crystal Ship. You can find it on Apple. Look up The Crystal Ship podcast. You'll see yours truly yammering about everything from soup to nuts. And there you have it. Keep on rocking.